In the world of MotoGP, Marc Marquez has enjoyed a lot of success from the day he stepped up to the Premier class, despite it being possibly the most competitive few years we have ever seen in MotoGP. But just like everything else in this world, all that has come at a price. Right from the beginning, even in smaller categories, Marc has been known to have big crashes, and he often suffered big injuries which would knock him out for a few races at a time, thus the nickname his haters came up with, CRASH-QUEZ. Even when he graduated to MotoGP, the big crashes did not stop. In only his fifth race in MotoGP, he had one of the biggest crashes in MotoGP history, in which he suffered over 20 major impacts, with 2 of those impacts having 25 G-force on his shoulders. But somehow, he managed to walk away from that, as he did from many other big crashes over the years. Many believe that the Honda is custom designed for Marquez, but the truth is that all these years, what has appeared to be the characteristic of the motorcycle, it has been enforcing the bike to do all those things, and in the process, has ruined both his shoulders beyond repair. On top of that, in 2020, his luck ran out when, while climbing up the pack from P18, Marquez lost the rear while chasing the leader and his RC213V with 160 kilograms of weight, and all that momentum snapped his right humerus. Since then, Marc has undergone 4 surgeries on the same arm, and it would appear that the 4th surgery might have finally done the job. But the right arm and shoulders have not been his only problem. The 4th optic nerve of his right eye has become a bigger single point of failure in the last 1 year. Initially hurting the nerve in 2011, Marc took 4.5 months to recover from double vision, which also cost him his Moto2 title that year. His diplopia returned when he suffered a training accident last year and ruled him out of the last 2 races, Valencia test as well as the pre-season test at Indonesia. Luckily, he recovered in time for the Malaysia test and started the 2022 season at Qatar, just like everyone else. Little did he know, he would have the worst high side in the history of MotoGP at the very next round, get double vision for the 3rd time, miss more races, and have another surgery on his right arm, all in the same 2022 season. Opening up about the wild high side at Mandalika, Marc Marquez has now revealed that he has no recollection of how he got back to his garage, and even admitted that he did not want to ride ever again. Reflecting on the crash at Indonesia, Marc started, "Some crashes, you remember everything. I remember just before the crash. When I started to fly from that point until the end, when I arrived in the box, I don't remember anything. This is because I was unconscious." Pointing out that he is human after all, Marc said, "After a crash like in Indonesia, you don't want to ride again. Then it becomes your profession, not your passion." Although Marc returned to race at Austin just a few weeks after the crash, he had to go under the knife again to fix his right arm, which after 3 surgeries was rotated by 30 degrees. The decision to go for another surgery in the same spot after so much hard work and healing was a particularly difficult one for Marc, and his close ones have now revealed that Marc seriously thought about retiring from the sport. Speaking about the time Marc was facing the big decision of whether to go for the surgery, Marc's younger brother Aleix Marquez said, "There were 1,000 doubts, and I said to him, okay, what if you don't? Can you compete? Well, there's your answer. Get the surgery, then you'll know if you can compete again. You definitely can't do it like this." He had never talked to me openly about retirement, but that day, he talked about it. He's also human, his big saves, the fact that he falls, and 2 minutes later he's in the garage, that's not normal. There comes a time when you push hard, and you don't have luck on your side, that is where you suffer. Marc's chief technician, Santi Hernandez, also spoke about that difficult time when Marc was facing the unknown. Santi said, his 4th operation was his last chance, and it was all or nothing. He didn't know if that would fix his injury, or if they were going to tell him, there's nothing that can be done, you have to retire. When ghosts appear, you think of many things. But, luckily for Marc, the 4th surgery worked. Marc returned to the all-important Misano test and raced for the rest of the season. However, there is still a big unknown. Although he took the pole position at Motegi and stood at the podium at Phillip Island, Marc insists he doesn't know the extent of his physical capabilities yet. Marc said, "I don't know what my 100% is on my right arm. Of course, it won't be like my left arm because they have opened up 4 times. This winter, I need to understand what the maximum for that arm is. I believe that I can still grow a lot. Step by step, I am beginning to have a normal life. There were still some limitations, but I began to ride motocross. It was still too early, but I was just trying to understand my limit. Every week I feel better and better. One day, I will stop progressing, and I will understand what my 100% is." Many times, a rider gets frustrated with all the injuries and decides to hang up the leathers. The most recent examples are Dani Pedrosa, Jorge Lorenzo, and Cal Crutchlow. But, against all odds, Marquez wants to keep going, and former British Superbike and World Superbike champion, Neil Hodgson, believes the reason for that is he wants to beat the record of Valentino Rossi.
Analyzing Marc's situation and speaking with BT Sport, Neil said, "The Marquez way is to take risks.
There is a huge reward for the risks that he has taken.
He has won 8 world championships. But people have won more titles. He wants to beat Valentino."
And if you ask the 5-time world champion Jorge Lorenzo, he will tell you that without the early comeback attempt at Jerez, just 5 days after his crash in the first race, Marquez would have won the last 3 titles as well. When asked to rate the value of the last 3 MotoGP titles, Lorenzo said, "It's just that for me the best rider wasn't there. Without Marquez they have had it much easier. With a fit Marc on the track, I think all 3 could have been won by a proper Marc. I think he's still the best, both technically, mentally and physically.
Well, not physically right now, due to his unfortunate injury.
But he is the only one who is not afraid of falling. That works against him sometimes, but when it plays in his favor it's a great quality. And I am sure that with Marc at 100% and if Honda helps him, little by little he will win races and world championships."
Do you think Marc Marquez will reach the record of 10 championship wins?
Or will this arm injury turn out to be like Valentino Rossi's leg injury from 2010, after which he never won again?
Let's chat in the comments below.
And before you leave, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing if you aren't already subscribed.